This is Joel Olson coming up with your variable rate update. We are about a week away from the Bank of Canada meeting. And so what do things look at right now? Well, I'm going to share with you a little bit of a conspiracy theory I have that should really dictate how you choose your rate going forward. I think we could be in for a decade of what's called ricocheting rates. Yes, I made that term up. You can't find it on the internet. The idea here is that we see a lot of people going, for short-term fixed rates. Look, I believe, and this is contrary to everybody out there, I believe there's two strategies that I employ. One is taking the variable, which I do believe benefits over time. I do believe that's beneficial if you have margin in your budget. I do believe if you have the ability to make more month over month. I think it's a little bit more risky when you have a situation where you have less, your income is static. I think still that will be the better bet. But what I don't think is necessarily better bet is these shorter fixed term rate terms that people are taking. So the reason for that is that I think that banks are pushing these very hard, brokers are pushing these very hard, and I think that the bank has done the math, and I don't think they're going to lose money on that. And I think that is a important conclusion that people have to come into on that. And I think the thing is right now is that interest rates are in a general pattern where they're going down like an elevator. And I think that continues for quite some time, but we don't have any guarantees on these rates going down. We have two factors that I think really we don't know yet. And I think they're going to make a difference going forward. One is that the impact of interest rates on natural disasters, hurricanes, that type of thing, affecting supply chain issues and other economic issues, those are affecting interest rates. They're unpredictable. And we've had that over the past 5 years. Even back to COVID, you can see that those things affect interest rates and they're not predictable. Secondly, the prevalence of governments being farther apart. And I don't see a lot of data on this, but I think this is interesting as well. You see a lot of elections that are very close around the world, but you also see that there isn't, that they are starkly different parties, very far to the right, far to the left, all that type of thing. And so this is going to impact, different philosophies, different taxes, different ideal policies for certain demographics and groups and areas, all that type of thing. That's going to have an impact on interest rates. These are all things that are unpredictable. When people say, interest rates could be low a few years from now or 2 years from now, we don't know any of that. That's just a shot in the dark. And what I think is a very big possibility right now, although far from guaranteed, and I don't want you to take this as gospel, as you said, but this is something that is percolating in my mind, is the idea that we'd have interest rates drop really low, go up, decently, drop really low, and do that for the next little while over every couple of years or something like that. I think that also drives a very big point home. When we think about the housing market being jump-started by interest rates, we have a real problem here in the sense that interest rates need to be about where COVID levels are, to be honest with you. Because most, even though there is a significant amount of population has free and clear homes or low mortgages, we've seen that that's what's made the housing market stay static because they're not moving. They don't need to do anything. They're not feeling any pressure. And when it's in a situation, first-time home buyers, people that are moving up in home, that are taking on a larger amount of debt, they have done so at COVID rates, 1%. But they have done so also with a household budget that has a lot more margin. Even though they took on rates that were lower, they also had more margin, lower cost of gas, lower cost of groceries. All those types of things are things they did when they took on the mortgage on. When they come up for renewal here, you're talking about budgets with a lot less margin. Now, this could be mitigated if wage growth had increased. I'm making 100, now I'm making 150, now I'm making 200, but that's not really the case. And so this is a really scary proposition because what's probably going to happen is that they will not, there is not as many people that have renewed as of yet at higher interest rates, and they're going to renew and have a very big difference on their discretionary income. And so huge difference on how much they're spending out and on things that are not as important on an ongoing basis. And so this has a huge effect on the economy. And so they can't have that happen. But also have a situation where the states is, again, not as in dire straits as we are. And we do have a real big possibility that they don't have to lower rates as aggressively. And as a result of this, what you're going to see is you're going to, remembering that currency is really affected by our prime rates, you're going to see a real anomaly where there's a need to lower rates, but a desire for them to be higher. And I think that translates over the next decade and in a variety of different ways. So keep that in mind. Am I saying that the variable is not a good idea? No, I think that the variable is a good idea. I think that that's going to be probably the best bet, but I think that's going to have some roller coaster to it. I don't think that's going to stop. I think a fixed rate 2 and 3 year, I think if you want to ride that train, just go variable. And if you're uncomfortable with the variable, go a 5-year fixed rate and let's have a good discussion over the real risk of prepayment penalties which are higher on a 5-year or a 3-year. But anyway, that's your variable update for this week. If I can help with anything, please let me know.